Welcome back, everybody. This is Gammatrap. One word. What I'm going to be doing right now is because it's been a while since I've done a narrated kind of speed paint time lapse situation. Forgive me if I sound tired. I am. I just finished this piece like 20 minutes before setting up the recording. And I wanted to get this recorded and narrated and stuff for you before I went to bed because I've got a kind of a busy day coming up. It's 9 a.m. for me, and I'm about to hit the hay at this time in the morning, which I know distresses some people, but that's, I don't know, I live a strange life. So the point of this piece is I'm going to be drawing an exo from Destiny 2 in the middle of one of their dreams. Exos are playable characters and NPCs inside the Destiny universe that are like robots, or like AI. They're essentially like they're people, but you know they're robots. If it makes sense. It's very obscure where they came from. We know roughly who made them. We know roughly like how they made them. But very little else is known about these things. It's really cool. Bungie likes to keep their writing very open, and they have like very obscure hints about stuff. But one of the bits that we know about the exos is they always dream about a tower. Or a crypt, we assume, deep stone crypt. And either the exo goes to sleep and dreams of approaching the tower in peace, or they have to fight their way to the tower. And I think I think most of them have to fight their way to the tower. I think most of them have this war thing. So about this piece real quick. You see me in the beginning kind of ironing out the poses that I want, what I wanted to try. And earlier, I think it looked a little like a chimpanzee or something because I had this arm all loopy and kind of weird. And I usually, when I'm making poses and getting things ready in the beginning of the piece, it's pretty loose. I don't really worry too much about clarity and anatomy in like the basic idea. But once I figure, okay, yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna go for, typically speaking, then I clean it up and make things make sense. And this arm that's up right now, the one that's about to either throwing a punch or pulling something, that's still not anatomically correct, and I'll fix it later in the piece because his forearm is too short, it would seem, or his arm needs to be a little further out. But because I wanted to be kind of close to the chest, I'm gonna have to move that forearm a little closer to his shoulder. This whole thing came about because first Myelin had his video idea, right? But this particular exo came to us because I put on Twitter, I was like, hey, send me your exo faces, and so on stream, me and the whole chat, we looked over hundreds of exo faces, and we had sort of this top model kind of rating thing, and this model right here actually was the winner, so it was really cool. It felt really nice getting everyone involved, and there was a lot of people. I'd like to thank all of y'all for who jumped in and helped out with your exo models, and I'd like to say sorry for it because some of them we did miss. I tried to get as many as possible. We kind of did miss a few. I think that was just Twitter doesn't like to show everything in the thread for some reason. But I was debating on whether or not to keep this like maybe some regular ordinary armor or gear on this exo, but the character, the player, the person who sent this particular exo was wearing this stuff, and I thought it was appropriate enough, and I didn't want to make it naked. In the beginning of the piece, you saw me messing around with like musculature. It looked pretty naked. And then usually when I make pieces and in like dynamic poses, I do try to make them kind of naked at first, and then I'll put clothes on if I need to. That's just because I like to get a good clear indication of like how the body needs to move. If you just start drawing from the clothes and you don't have a skeleton, you don't have actual muscles, and you don't make it look like it makes sense, it's just not going to make sense with clothes on. So you don't have to fully render it obviously naked, but it's a good idea, in my opinion, to at least get the muscle groups in. So now we're messing with the exos in the foreground, punching or pulling something. I haven't quite figured it out at this point. And there's that figure in the background. That's the tower that he's trying to fight his way to. Right now usually I'd have him facing the tower, but I thought it'd be, good enough to have it in the background. And I still wanted to see this exo's face, so it's a strange pose, but I kind of like it. Now, the whole lore of this, the whole story of these things is, again, they have to fight their way to the tower. And these figures are like simulated enemies, but they're comprised of everyone the exos ever met. It's sort of like how human dreams are apparently, and as far as I know, like the faces of the strangers or even close friends that we assume are our friends in the dreams are like people that we've seen before or people that we know. So it's kind of, I guess, like that. But I didn't want to put any detail on these figures that were kind of like that this exo had to fight through. I didn't want to put like faces. I didn't want to put clothes. I literally just wanted to keep them like silhouettes, sort of like shadow people. And I wanted to have them kind of walking towards, and I wasn't sure what to do with the empty space on the right of the exo. I assumed I'd figure that out later. I had to just fix the arm. Fantastic. There we go. So yeah, I moved it a little closer to the subject because, again, the forearm was either too short or the bicep area was just too long. So now it's a fight of values. Usually I try to get the values in before I get the details in. Or it's like a little combination of both. The only real details I usually try to put in before it's like final render phase is just lines. You know, like if you look at this guy's coat, right? The zipper area has these like seams, sort of like stitching, or I don't really know what else to call it. But you know, and they had the little zipper parts. I put those in because I'll know, oh, okay, that's exactly what that is. It's sort of like a map for myself. No matter how I resize the image, if I want to move this guy around at all, if you do resize an image while you're working on it, it's going to get a little artifact and pixely and fuzzy. So that's why I add those like details. I don't mind having to like go over and re-go over the same details over and over again, but it's just like helpful for me, I assume. And then, you know, once I figure, okay, I'm not gonna move this guy, then I'll go into final render phase. And okay, so I figured it'd be fine and good enough to put like mountains and clouds in the back, some kind of obscure stuff. Because if it's a dream, which this is, I like, why don't we just make it like full-on surreal, right? So clouds, jagged peaks, mountains, you know, valleys, the whole thing. And I did, after I was done with this grayscale, I took it into Photoshop to do the coloring and little extra value control. And I'll have to make a tutorial on how to do that pretty soon, because I know some people are getting a little upset because I'm making these pieces and you see the time lapse and it goes grayscale the entire time, and like it'll just jump to color, or when it's finished it'll jump to color. But I don't have the tutorial out yet, so until I finish that, you're just gonna have to live with this. I really hope you enjoyed this piece. Let me know if you'd like to see anything else. I've got a couple other recorded pieces that I have yet to put on here. They're originals. They don't have anything to do with Destiny, but they're kind of dark. They're kind of like that skeleton one I posted the other month or so ago. Either way, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and hope you don't mind my crazy tired voice so much. And stop by the stream if you'd like to. I talk about art all the time during that process and explain everything if I can. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.